Hi everybody and welcome to Des and Lauren. This morning we'll be speaking about load shedding.
Well, load shedding in South Africa has been a hot topic for a very long time. We know you're all frustrated. We are frustrated. It's a situation that could have been avoided, and yet here we are. We have load shedding, and there's no other place in the world that really has load shedding the way that we do. And this is unique to a country where a government has completely failed. It started with a Thabo Mbeki government that decided that we don't need to maintain the Eskom units, we can just keep the lights on. So you keep them running at all costs, and I mean, where has that brought us?
Without creating new sources of energy.
Which we were supposed to start doing since 1998 when the white paper on energy came out that said we need to build new capacity. Medupi and Kusile was built, and we know that that was an absolute money conveyor belt for the African National Congress. They actually had shares in Itachi. So I suppose the ANC is more of a business than it is a political party, and we actually need to discuss that in future, how political parties in the current system are actually conglomerates, businesses, cartels, gangs, and this is a huge problem. And this is why we need to change the system. And Lauren has come up with a plan that will certainly make it possible for us to do that.
And this channel should hopefully help South Africans and even people globally understand what the real problems are, and what we're trying to help people do through all the news we bring you is understand the bigger picture and why we need to resist the current systems that govern our society internationally and where that comes from centuries and centuries ago. And then one thing I hate the most is not leaving a solution, and we've created a solution. We do workshops firstly that empower people to overcome their own challenges so that they can control their own destinies no matter what's happening in the 21st century. And then we also very soon will be introducing applications for training to help people become better citizens, more empowered citizens, to actually become changers of the future of this country. And that's so needed. And I think the most difficult thing for most people to accept, but which is something hopefully everyone on this channel will accept, is that it's going to take your action to change how this country takes shape in the coming years.
And it's important that it is you that takes the action, because then you are empowered. Because at the moment we have conglomerates, we have cartels, we have gangs involved with government, police, the military, and many other large corporations out there. And all they want is your money. I mean, you have to work so that you can produce income that they can siphon into their coffers to move around the world. Because it doesn't stay in South Africa, clearly.
Definitely not. So with this article, it's from Business Tech, and the headline is South Africa is living the best case scenario for load shedding. Now, you mentioned that there's no other country that does load shedding quite like us.
No.
But I found it very interesting in George Orwell's 1984 that there's load shedding as a key feature. Power cuts throughout the day is a key feature throughout that society. And government failure is so necessary for human control, population control on a global scale.
And this new minister in the presidency is making it look like it's okay, like this is actually fine. Load shedding is not okay. It's not okay that it's happening. The fact that load shedding is necessary, absolutely, to prevent grid collapse, and this is technically true. However, the fact that we are there can never be acceptable. You know, from 2000 to where Eskom is the best utility in the world, voted so by the United States. I mean, for them to applaud anyone else takes a lot. To where we are today, pariah.
Electricity Minister Ramokgopa says that 1 year after first being introduced, President Cyril Ramaphosa's Energy Action Plan is bearing fruit, resulting in lower stages of load shedding and setting the country up for energy abundance.
This is just not true. All that's happened is units that have been taken down for planned maintenance like it should have been during the Mbeki era. So these units were taken down for maintenance like they should be, scheduled maintenance, okay, have come back. And normally they would come back before the winter months, but unfortunately it's taken a while and they actually ended up coming back during the winter, but it's given us some reprieve. And they will probably run the units through the winter now, and then in the summer months take more units down again for maintenance.
So the next paragraph is where the cartel part comes in. Briefing the media on Sunday, 9th of July, Ramokgopa said that Eskom, working with over 100 experts from the private sector, has managed to mitigate further load shedding disasters, enable generation recoveries, and keep the country within the best case scenario for the utilities winter load shedding outlook. It's a problem when there are experts from the private sector that stand to gain so much from government and from government failure specifically as well. I mean, the entire security industry is based on government failure. In May, Eskom's winter load shedding outlook presented a bleak forecast for the country entering the winter months with a near 6,500 megawatts shortfall and demand expected to reach 33,000 megawatts against a supply of around 26,500 megawatts at the time. I'm actually quite curious to know, how would you be impacted by government prosperity? Are you in a kind of industry or business that where you'd be lacking if government actually had to do its job? Would love to know in the comments. Where are you? Are you in the security industry, the surveillance tech industry? Are you in any of these private sectors that are helping government in any way? Energy,
or the police or the military. Yeah.
Energy demand in 2022 was around 34,000 megawatts and has spiked higher in the past. Supply, meanwhile, had dropped below 24,000 megawatts in the first 4 months of the year.
Yeah, we've gone way beyond 36,000 megawatts, and I'm talking about in 2002. So we've gone backwards, like by a long shot. We should have been way over 40,000 megawatts demand by now.
So that is just a mirror image of our economic decline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lack of economic growth in the country for year after year after year.
We've gone backwards, and many companies did not actually build their infrastructure because of this. Like at Kuga, it's a very good example. Aluminium smelters that were going to be built there, that cancelled their plans because Eskom couldn't say that we can supply you with stable load.
I think we can discuss that one day.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario, which would have pushed South Africa into stage 8 load shedding or beyond, would have seen unplanned outages and losses exceeding 18,000 megawatts. However, this is not materialized. I'd love to know how you would have handled stage 8 load shedding, and especially your business. I think on a personal level, you just sit at home and cook on a fire, but on a business level, for income, what would you have had to have done to mitigate that? However, this is not materialized.
And have you put things in place to mitigate that?
Supply has improved to around 28,000 megawatts. That's
units coming back.
Not a huge improvement. No. While energy demand has remained exceptionally low at around 30,000 megawatts, significantly narrowing the shortfall.
Yes, this is probably government paying companies to not use electricity. I kid you not that Eskom has actually paid companies in the past not to use electricity.
So this is the part where I think there has also been significantly reduced demand, he said, with the public heeding the call to use electricity sparingly, switching off geysers and other heavy use items.
I'm thinking of the smart meters now. They want to bring into every home in the next 4 years, where they can totally control your power supply. And it's strange that most people aren't interested in this. This is not prepaid meters.
Yeah.
These are meters that can be remotely used to switch off your supply.
Rationed.
Yeah.
So we'll put the link to the article in the description. I think it's important to note that for the global plan, if you look at Agenda 21, the things that are discussed at the World Economic Forum, I think if you look at all of that, South Africa is the perfect child to that mindset, because we have many excuses to implement the smart city system and implement the fourth industrial revolution. We have every excuse except for the fact that we haven't got enough power being generated. And when you mix a climate change agenda with Agenda 21 and then practical science, it just doesn't work together. But the breeding ground is there to control the human population, to ration the human population. and to just bring us down.
And absolutely, South Africa is a target. We saw during the COVID-19 pandemic police brutality. We experienced it ourselves. So did many other people. Some people dying at the hands of the military. We saw people being stripped naked and making to crawl around on the streets like animals because of these powers taking control over citizens in the country. And with Omega, which is the Organic Humanity Movement, ending global and government atrocities, we will empower citizens to make sure that no military or police can be a force in their lives.
Mm-hmm. It's just self-empowerment. It's easy, it's simple, and we'll be discussing more and more of that in our videos. And you can look out.
Join our Telegram channel.
Yes, our Telegram channel. The link is in the description, and we'll talk more about the applications closer to the time, which are opening up in September.